Right then, let's take a moment to bring our palms together in veneration of the Buddha, reminding ourselves that it is because of him we have every opportunity today to cross the ocean of samsara, to free ourselves from suffering once and for all, and to aspire to an ultimate bliss that is within our reach. And as we do so, let us also remind ourselves that there is a pledge of allegiance that we take to the Noble Triple Gem, which are our only refuge on the path to freedom and Nibbāna. So let us take a moment to pay homage to the Noble Triple Gem, observe the precepts, and to make another step forward on our journey to the ultimate bliss of Nibbāna. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. How many of you have heard the expression, a fool's paradise? Give me a show of hands. A fool's paradise? Many. Okay. There are some who haven't, and that's fine. You know what paradise is? And you know who a fool is? A paradise is where you're happy. That's why people always seek paradise. It's where you can be carefree, trouble-free, worry-free, and you're just simply happy. That's what paradise is. A fool is what? A fool is someone who does not know right from wrong, isn't it? A fool is someone who is fooled. Someone who doesn't know what's right for them. Someone who goes after the wrong thing when it does not serve them what they actually need. So they keep going after something in the hope that it is what they believe will get them what they want. But in the end, it is simply a fruitless, meaningless, useless pursuit. So what do you think a fool's paradise is? Put two and two together. If you have someone, no one among you, of course, just someone who determined to achieve something. And in this case, something is, of course, what are we all here for? In one word, happiness, right? It's not a free lunch. That's not what you're here for. It's not money, it's not wealth, it's not anything else. You know, you're no richer than the day you first walked in. In fact, you've not gained anything from this place, have you? Or have you? You have? Okay. Because there's only one thing you can gain from coming here. If that one thing has not been gained, then you've not gained anything. And what is that one thing? It has to be happiness, yes. So, if there's someone who believes or who wants happiness, they're determined to achieve happiness, but they keep doing the wrong thing or going after the wrong thing in meaningless pursuits in the hope that one day they will achieve that happiness. That is a meaningless pursuit. But what's worse is, if someone believes that they are at a place where they are happy, when in fact they're not, but they are fooled to think that that is paradise, when in fact it's not. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a fool's paradise. So why am I speaking to you about a fool's paradise? Why do you think I'm talking to you about a fool's paradise? Any guesses? Oh. I'm glad that wasn't me who said that. But let's just not take anyone's word for it. I'm going to reveal to you some facts. I'm going to share with you some truths. You study those facts. You reflect upon them. You use your intellect and analyze these facts. And you decide for yourselves what relevance a fool's paradise has to any of you. Okay? So let me not be the judge. The jury's out. Once I have shared the facts with you, then the jury's out. But until such time, let's not jump into any conclusions. I'm not here to call anyone a fool. I love you all. I wouldn't call you a fool. Why would I come all the way from Ingiriya to see a bunch of fools? What would that make me? Right? But there is one thing I want for all of you, and that's this. I want paradise for all of you. I want actual paradise. The real paradise. Not paradise for the namesake. Certainly not a fool's paradise. Okay? But to get to paradise, you have to be prepared to leave fool's paradise if you're there. I say with a caveat, if you're there. I'm not going to judge whether you are there. I'm just going to state the facts for you. You work out where you are. I have a feeling that none of you would like to or want to be in fool's paradise if you realize that that is where you were. But someone's pulled the wool over your eyes. Someone did that. Someone's done a fast one on you. Let's be clear on one thing. We all were born for something. It was with purpose. There are no accidents in the universe. People call something an accident when they can't understand why it happened. Or when they wish something else should have happened instead of what they want. So when the outcome is not what is desired, they call it an accident. But therefore, an accident is something that is very subjective. Objectively speaking, then, there cannot be anything that is an accident, right? So your being born as a human being, what do you think that was? An accident? No. That was not an accident. You have come with purpose. The truth is, you are here because you want to be here. I'm giving you time to think. Think about everything that I am sharing with you right now. You're here because you want to be here. By here, I don't mean here, in this room. Well, hopefully, the same truth applies. You're here because you want to be here. But I mean, you're here as a human being because you want to be here. So what happens the day you don't want to be here? If such a day should come, that you no longer want to be here, then you won't. Now, as you go through life, now that you're here, life has its ups and downs, doesn't it? You can't say you're always happy. Can you? Anyone? The other day I asked you, if I could ask you to give me a date and a time at any point in the future where you can tell me with dead certainty that you will be happy at that precise date and time, what time would that be? And you were all speechless. In fact, not a single person in the room stood up and said, Swaminatha, I can name that time. And that's a pity, I think. But don't despair, because there is a way. If you learn, if you realize the truths that I'm about to share with you, there is a way you can, without a shadow of a doubt, claim to me or to anyone else for me to name any date and time of my choosing at which you can say, Swaminatha, whatever date or time you pick, I can tell you that I will be happy at that time. And there's a way to get there. I believe that is why you're here. You want to discover how to achieve that. What that also means is that you have not yet found that secret. You have gone on many pursuits in life. You are all here from various walks of life. I think under this one roof, there's plenty and more evidence that none of the things that you can do in life will actually get you into paradise. Because here's what's there in paradise. Happiness. Unconditional happiness. Give me some things that you won't find in paradise. Name some. I'll get you started. Fear. You won't have that in paradise. Where was Adam and Eve before God kicked them out? Where were they? They were in paradise, so the Bible says. And when they were there, what wasn't there? What about shame? Was shame there? No shame. Fear? Grief? Sorrow? None of these things were there. Despair? Disappointments? Frustration? Anger? Hatred? Jealousy? Regret? Curiosity? What happened at the point they became curious? When Eva became curious, what did she do? For those of you who have read the book, they plucked the forbidden apple. And then she took a bite of it. And then she offered it to Adam. And when God found out, what did he do? Kicked them out of paradise. And ever since, they have been looking for paradise. So the Holy Bible says that we are all descendants of Adam and Eve. Now you're probably wondering, why is the Swaminatha talking to us about the Bible? Is he a pastor in disguise? I am not a pastor, but I'm not a monk either. I'm not an imam. Who am I? A what? There you go. Thank you. I'm humbled. I'm just a scientist in a robe. I'm here to share with you the science of the mind. And why does that matter to you? Because you all have one, don't you? That's why. At school, we learned about a lot of things that were not of any relevance to us. You talked about history, then that was way before your time. You learned about things that was way before your time. I was there in history lessons. I got a good grade. I passed well for history. But then I was sat there wondering, what relevance is this to me? I'm not undermining history by any means. What I'm saying was, I asked myself this question. Okay, now I know what happened before my time. And Have I found paradise? These were questions that bothered me. So we are here to find our way back to paradise. Like I said, Germany Maitri Hamdru, he promised me when he ordained, as I have been teaching him Buddhism, he'll be teaching me the Bible. So I've been learning the Bible. Today I can see the truths that the Buddha revealed in those holy pages, in those holy scripts. Because I look at it from a fresh perspective. You know, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, everything is the truth. Because if it's not the truth, it cannot be. But why do they seem false to you? Perspective. That's why. I don't know how much of that made sense, but it made a lot of sense to me. Everything is the truth. Because if it's not the truth, it cannot exist. Only truths can exist. See, this is the truth. That's why it exists. If this was false, this would not exist. Our perspective helps us to understand the truth of everything there is around us. Things exist because they are the truth. Sometimes we may not understand that. Sometimes we may not be able to interpret it. But ultimately, it is the truth. As the Buddha says in his own words, there are 4 absolute truths, and that is all there are. Chittas, Chaitasikas, Rupa, and Nibbāna. You will sense an individual. We've spoken about this in the past. Don't worry, I'm not going to get carried away. We'll come back to this. You will sense a self. That is not a falsehood. The only thing is, it's not a self, but a sense of self. Once you look at it through the lens of truth, you'll realize why you experience an identity, why you experience a being, an existence. Right, let's come back a few steps. I went too far. I enjoy this, so sometimes I just meander and then I have to pull myself back. Because you come here with lots and lots and lots of merits. So when you and we come together, there are sparks going on in the back of my head, and you can't see that, unfortunately. Fireworks are going on right now. If only you could witness that, you would be upstanding and rejoicing and applauding. This is euphoric. The Dhamma is euphoric. That's why nothing exceeds the taste of Dhamma. I wish I could translate and convey everything I'm feeling right now into words, but words fail me. They have always failed me, and they will forever fail me, because words can't contain exactly what I want to get across to you. But that won't stop me from trying either. Right, let's come back to this. Paradise and fool's paradise. So Adam and Eve, they were in paradise, and then they got kicked out. And now they're trying to find their way back to paradise. So, if we are all descendants of Adam and Eve, if you subscribe to that story, that version of our existence, then you must understand that we are not in paradise yet. That's why they strive, people work hard to try and get back to paradise. Now, from a Buddhist perspective, the Buddha, upon realizing the 4 noble truths, he proclaimed them and he said, this is the first noble truth. And such is the second. This is the third. And this is the fourth. Once you have realized this, you are free from suffering. Because he said, this is the first noble truth of what? Of what? Suffering. The second noble truth of suffering. The third and the fourth of suffering. Right? And then he said, I have now realized it. And therefore, I am free of suffering. So he was also looking for paradise. If you can see a connection there. He was also looking for paradise. So does every spiritual leader who comes into this world. because that's what humanity is looking for. That's why all religious leaders, they come into this world and they come up with some kind of philosophy, some way of explaining what people are looking for. They know that people are hungry. They understand that people are thirsty, hungry and thirsty for the truth, not for bread. Hungry and thirsty for the truth. And what is the truth? How do you get back to paradise? Here's the problem though. When you are in fool's paradise, it feels like and it seems like you are in paradise. And when you feel that you are in paradise, then you give up any effort, any struggle, any energy, any desire to get to actual paradise. So the worst thing that could happen to someone is to be in fool's paradise and not realize that they are there. I'm going to draw something out for you on the board. See if you can follow this through and see what you make of it. I typically go from that way to this way, but today I'm going to go in the reverse direction. Can someone do me a favor and just pick up that clip for me? Thank you, madam. Much praise to you. Right. I'm going to start us off with a very simple example. Can you read that? Is it working up there? Okay, what does it say? Watch TV. Okay? I have a question for you. Why do you watch TV? Put news to a side, because you'll tell me, as citizens, we have to find out what's going on, It's part of our survival. We need to know what's going on. Let's go actually entertainment. Yes, that's a good one. Entertainment. Why do you watch entertainment on TV? Because you like to be entertained. You like to be happy. So if you walk back this path, back to why you watch TV, okay? You come here to a point where you want to be happy. And at this junction, for some reason, you believe that watching TV is going to make you happy. So here you want to be happy, okay? And you have this belief that doing something using your eyes and your ears is going to make you happy. So what a TV does is it gives you that package, something that is visual and something that is audible. Two together, two in one, so you have that package. Now tell me, at this point, aren't you convinced? Did I drop that again? It's all right, you'll all get a chance, right? Just right there, man. Much merits to you. Thank you. Who's next, sir? Right. At this point, aren't you convinced? And genuinely, just go back to the last time you sat in front of your TV. You switched on the telly and you thought, right, yeah, I'm going to watch TV now because that's what I want. Okay? At this point, aren't you convinced 100% that watching TV is going to give you the satisfaction that you seek at that point? Aren't you convinced of that? I mean, would you watch TV otherwise? When you are thirsty, what do? You drink. You drink what? Typically, water. Why? You're convinced, aren't you? You're convinced that drinking water is going to quench your thirst. So why do you watch TV when you want a sense of satisfaction? When you want to be happy because you believe that watching TV is going to make you happy. Or are you in any doubt at that point? I mean, just walk back in your memory. Like when you're sat in front of the TV, you pick up the remote control, you look at it, I don't know, I want to be happy, but is this really going to make me happy? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Are you like that? Or are you actually convinced? Maybe you've had a long day at work, right? Or things are going on, someone's just given you some bad news, or you just failed an exam or something, right? Or you just want to be entertained. And because you're convinced, you sit down, you turn on the TV. So, are we in any doubt that at this point, when you decide that you want to watch TV, you are convinced that watching TV is going to be the answer that you seek? Meaning, it is going to be paradise. Yes? Yes or no? Yes. That's why you watch TV for the purpose of entertainment. In fact, entertainment is simply another way of saying paradise. It's paradise for you. Right. I'll take another example. You've had your lunch. Imagine you've had your lunch or you've had your dinner and you've had your heart's content, so you're full now, but you just happen to walk into the kitchen. And then there happens to be a fridge. Just happens to be. How inconvenient. And then your arm just happens to rest on the handle. And it just happens to do what? Open it. You know the drill, right? What, did you read it in a book or something? And then in there is a bar of chocolate. No. Just happens to be there. Okay, tell me what is going to happen after that. You've had your fill now, right? You've had plenty. You're not hungry, right? If you ask the doctor, what's the doctor going to say at this point? Ask your physician what you're supposed to do at this point. Turn around and walk away. That's what your physician would say at this point. And that's what he said the last time you took your blood reports to him. Remember? Yes. But what do you want to do at that point? Reach out and grab it. So you can substitute chocolate with whatever it is that you like to help yourself to. This is also entertainment, isn't it? We don't typically tend to call it entertainment, but in very simple terms, that's also entertainment. Only this time it's not through your eyes or your ears, but through a different set of organs, typically your nose and your tongue. Again, entertainment. Right, let's put chocolate up here then. Now let's walk back. Why did you eat that chocolate? Trace your steps back and you come to this point. At this point, were you not convinced? Answer this question honestly. Were you not convinced that eating the chocolate is going to give you paradise? Is going to take you into paradise? Were you not convinced of that? If it's not chocolate that floats your boat, then maybe it was a banoffee pie. Maybe it was a cheesecake. Maybe it was eclairs. I know what you're thinking. Stop now, Swami Mahansa. We are only still starting the practice to Nibbana. It's all right for you to say all these things, but you got to understand us, right? Okay. Right, no more examples. Maybe a pudding or something. A sticky toffee pudding. Are you not convinced at that point that, lo and behold, in front of you is paradise? Aren't you? Isn't that, despite what your physician advised, despite knowing that you have high cholesterol, high diabetes, high this, high that, and high the other, it is strongly advisable that you cut down your sugar intake, your fat intake, your calorie intake, and all the rest of that. You reach out and you grab it. Because in your mind, you think that that is what? In one word? What word? Paradise. We'll come to this later. Right now, you think it's paradise. Let's take another example. You're at home and you're dead bored. Ever been there? No? Thank God for Sunday mornings, right? So you're at home and you're dead bored. And you sit down thinking, what am I going to do? You try ringing a friend, they won't answer. You message someone and their replies are not as rapid as you'd like them to be. Nothing's on TV, you switch it on, it's just election. Doesn't interest you. Or maybe some old news, that's all. Or maybe it's some cookery channel or something which doesn't fascinate you one bit. So you think, maybe, just maybe, I'll go for a drive. I used to do this quite a lot. So I had my best friend and I, whenever we were bored out of our skins, we would just go on drives, just drive. We just drive. No destination, just drive. Some days we used to go to this, so we used to live in Harrow on the Hill. And there used to be this, can't remember what it was called now. It was called Harrow View. So from there would be a wonderful vista. You could see all of Harrow from there. And I quite enjoyed that. So my friend and I would go and park up, get out, and just stare at the horizon. And then we would just talk about things. Pastimes. Because we were bored, we found something to do to entertain ourselves. And for that duration of time, it felt like I was in what? Paradise. Now, name a few places that you normally find paradise in. The beach? Yes? Anyone went to the beach recently? No, don't be embarrassed, it's all right. Okay, where else? The jungle. Then hiking. Some like to go hiking. Cycling. Maybe you go see the falls. Maybe you go to the zoo. Maybe you go bird watching. Maybe you go to the theater. Maybe you watch some drama. Right? So these are things that you do because you want, what you're looking for is paradise. Right. So I'm going to put it up here. Let's call them escapades. Shall we? So they can come in various flavors. Adventure, just leisure, right? Whatever they are. You go on them at the point, so let's trace our steps back. At this point, were you not convinced that you had a problem? You were bored. Okay, you were bored out of your skull and you wanted some variety. You wanted to change, at least temporarily. You wanted to talk with your friends. You wanted to be with them. You wanted to go on a walk. You wanted to see the surroundings. You wanted to go on a nature trail. Because you were convinced of what? That you were now going to walk into what? Paradise. Right. So I'll leave a few more so that you can put in your own things. Things that you tend to do when you are looking for paradise. Okay? Things that you might do. So you can put in a few of your own here. But I've got a few examples on the board. Now, I have one or two questions for you. So far, this is just paradise. You've done this, watching TV, and you've done this how many times when you were convinced that that was the answer to your problem? In fact, every time you did that, entertainment, okay, not news, not the news, every time you did that, at this junction, were you not convinced at that moment, were you not 100% convinced that if I did this, I would be in paradise? Weren't you convinced? Of course you were convinced. You were convinced, and that's why you did it. How much did you pay for your TV? I mean, it's probably one of the more expensive equipment that you have at home. Probably. I mean, these days, how big do they make them? 65, 75, 85, 95? Am I going the right direction? 105? Yeah, keep going. Because you're the one who keeps abreast with technology. So those days I used to be fascinated by these things. But today, different things fascinate me. So your TV is probably one of the more expensive gear that you have at home. Maybe you have a surround sound system, your subwoofers and your speakers and your bass effects and your this, that, and the other 5.1 surround sound. Have you got all that at home? Good. If you haven't, you should try it. Because that's what qualifies you to live in this paradise. Sorry, this paradise. So you were convinced, let's be honest, you were convinced that if you did that, you'd be in paradise, you'd be happy. How many times have you tried that now? Once? Twice? 3 times? You can ask me to stop when I hit the right number, okay? 4, 5. I've got all the time in the world, so let's just... What's the answer? Close to an infinite number of times you've tried that. Has it worked? Has it worked? What do I mean by has it worked? Are you content? Are you satisfied? Are you fulfilled? Are you? Are you? Are you? No. Oh, right. So, do you think then that this is actually an avenue for you into paradise? Because here's what they say about paradise. There is forever lasting happiness. Timeless happiness. Unconditional happiness. A happiness that is not something that can be taken away from you, either by something or by someone. That is what they say about paradise. If you read the Bible, that is what they say about paradise. If you ask the Buddha, that is what he says about paradise. Etang santang. Etang panitang. See? It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's joyful. He speaks of paradise. So you've tried this avenue into paradise. I'm asking you. So you started watching TV, you watched TV, and you finished watching TV. Are you happy? Are you content? Are you fulfilled? Are you etang santang etang panitang? Or far from it? Reserve. Let's try another one. Chocolate, cheesecake, this, that, whatever. And when it's not good enough at home, you go to a restaurant and you try it there. And when it's not enough to have a restaurant here, you travel the world. There are some people who just travel the world because they want to experience different cuisines. Have you not heard of them? Living life on this side of the fence is expensive. Don't you think so? It's expensive. We'll get onto the other side in a moment, okay? Let's just talk about this side, the side that we're all very familiar with. You look a little bit embarrassed, so let me just rub this off for the time being. Okay, so we call this paradise A, and this is paradise B. Okay? Otherwise, I can't get the full engagement that I'm looking from you. Living on this side is expensive. Yes or no? Why do you work Monday to Friday? Why do you work the weekends? Why do you do overnight shifts? Why do you do extended shifts? Why do you have a second job? Why do you moonlight? Why do you burn the midnight oil? Why do you keep 3 jobs? Because there's always more month left at the end of the money, right? Huh? What? There's always more month left at the end of the money. So one job can't take you through the whole month because living on this side is expensive. That's why you have a little triangular piece of plastic. A rectangular piece of plastic. So that you can live on a lease. Not a leash, although. But rather on a lease. Credit. See, when someone fails to be content with what they have, now they are dependent on credit. But of course, when you take credit, it's really someone else you're making happy. These are the truths that people don't tell us very much. But these are the pitfalls that we always fall into. Why would anyone give you credit? Is it because they love you dearly? I mean, if they said 0 interest, perhaps, right? But not when you read the terms and conditions. Sometimes they'll sweet talk you into one. 0% for the first 12 months. I used to work in a bank and I used to sell credit cards. I used to sell loans to customers. So I understand the logic behind it. I understand how people's mindset works and I understand how to sell one. I was not always this good. I knew how to sell igloos to the Eskimos. Even better, I knew how to sell fridges to the Eskimos. Because I learned that. I learned how to make someone want something they don't need. Just the memory of those days just makes me feel sick. It roils my stomach. The things that I had to do because I lived on this side of the fence. I remember going to those training sessions, going to those workshops. I remember learning how people thought. So that when they walked in to see me, and all they wanted, an 85-year-old grandma, all she wanted was to withdraw her pension. I would convince her that she needed a credit card. Don't look at me like that now. I'm saying I used to. I'm not like that anymore. Come on, cut me some slack. Because I used to live on this side of the fence. I'm not proud of those days. Because those days it didn't really matter whether I was doing the right thing for that person. And there's a reason for that. There was a fire burning within. How can you put out someone else's fire when you are on fire? If you're suffocating, how can you have the sense of mind to give someone else an oxygen mask? How? If you're suffocating? If you're gasping for your breath and there's someone who's fainted, that is not your problem. There's a car coming at them, but you're gasping for your breath. You're suffocating. You can't have the peace of mind to think about someone else when you are on fire. Let's be honest. So when you live on this side of the fence, ladies and gentlemen, people become very selfish. And that's not their fault. If you have ever felt that you are selfish, I forgive you. It's time you forgive yourselves. If you have ever felt that you are selfish, there may be times where you feel that. There are times where you will feel that, and there are times that you won't feel it, but you still are. Because when you are a self, of course you have to be selfish. Selfish is really nothing more than being with a self. And in its very simplest terms, that is what being selfish means. You have to think about oneself before you think about others. So living on this side is pretty expensive. Living on this side is one more thing. It's scary. Take the TV for instance. Your 6-year-old, he's decided to play ball. And of all the places he could choose to play ball, he wants to play ball in the living room. And there's your 65-inch on the TV desk, TV stand, but your 6-year-old, he wants to play ball. On several occasions you've said, Puta, don't play here, please take it out. Right? If you play here, then Dad is going to be very angry with you because you're going to break something, and then don't say I didn't tell you so. But often he keeps coming back, and then one fine day you get back home from work and you realize that he had forgotten. Don't you live scared when you live on this side of that fence? There is no escape from fear, ladies and gentlemen. I have a question for you then. Why do you call it paradise? There's more. There's grief. There's worry. There's anger. There's resentment. There's jealousy. There's shame. If you ever found out that your other half even had thoughts about another person, nothing more than that, just had thoughts about another person. Let's say one of these days you find their phone. On their phone there's a text message. Right? Just inadvertently, you pick up their phone and there's a text message. And there is, in that text message, there are expressions, words, things like, what do you get? Those things? Exos, exos, yes? You see a bunch of those things. Or someone else has chosen to call her lovey, baby, honey, or even sweetheart. And you thought yourself that you are the only one who was entitled to call her that. Let me tell you what happens in your mind. You get scared. You start getting worried. Fear strikes. Anger? What about anger? What about anger? No? Anger. What about jealousy? Jealousy. Shall I feel one of these for you? It says wife. Okay. Spouse then. Okay. Equal opportunities for everyone. Why deprive the ladies of paradise? Right, so spouse it is then, not wife. Tell me, when you seek paradise on the right-hand side of this fence, aren't they harbingers of all of these things? Don't they come as a package? Can you show me one way to keep all these things, seek your paradise on this side of the fence and be, what's the word? Immune to all this? Is that possible? If you're seeking paradise on this side of that fence, how can you be free from any of these things? Perhaps you're still struggling to forgive her, and it's been 10 years since the incident. Perhaps you're still struggling to move on. You've said, it's all right, darling, water under the bridge, let's bury the hatchet and carry on. But every time the in-laws turn up, every time something is said, every time an argument happens, it just keeps coming back to you. And when you just can't hold yourself, you spit it out. And then one thing turns to the other, and you know, before you know it, it's a war zone at home. Who gets the brunt of it? The children. And if you don't have children, the dogs. All because you're looking for paradise on this side of that fence. So far, we're still only calling it Paradise B. Okay? It's Paradise B. How many times have you eaten that chocolate? How many chocolates have you eaten by now for the sake of entertainment? 1, 2, 3. I know what you think. Swaminatha, look at me. Does it look like 3 chocolates made this? When at school they taught you an apple a day keeps the doctor away, what did you hear? A chocolate a day. And that's what you heard, right? I have no issue with you eating chocolates. I have no issue with you watching TV. I mean, I have no issue with anything really. But what I'm saying is, when you do these things, thinking, hoping, assuming that they are on your paradise, they are in paradise, they are the avenues to your paradise, ladies and gentlemen, you are asking for trouble. You are walking into an eternal purgatory. This is hell for you if you think this is paradise. It's almost like you're punished. See, are these not the punishments for wanting these things? Are these not the punishments for wanting these things? You've done these things so many times by now, but you are still unfulfilled. You are still dissatisfied. You are still not content. And you keep on spending. Because you have to keep on spending, you have to keep on earning. Because you have to keep on earning, you have to keep spending something that is far more valuable than the money that you earn. And what is that? It makes no sense really to spend something that is of more value and earn something that is of lesser value. Does it? That makes no business sense. Anyone that's worth their salt, who's done business or economics of any sort, would tell you, whenever you make an investment, you have to make an investment that gives you more return for your expenditure. What is it that you spend to earn your monthly wage? What? Your time. Are you really convinced that your time is worth your paycheck? Or in other words, is that all your time is worth? Your paycheck? Really? Why do you undermine yourself so much? Time that you earned by making huge sacrifices. If you believe in karma, if you believe in a life before this, then you should know, ladies and gentlemen, that each second you have earned, you earned through sweat, toil, labor, and hard work. Because this is not just any time, this is time in the human realm. This is time in an era where the truth prevails. Just look at yourselves for a second. Look at how fully formed you are. Look at how respectable you look. How beautiful you are. Look at how intelligent you are. How wise you are. How smart you are. Just take a moment to think about this. And despite all that, why do you keep spending something that is priceless to earn a paycheck at the end of the month? Because you know what? I know this for a fact, and please correct me if I'm wrong. That paycheck you earn is not merely to satisfy your hunger, to have a roof above your head, to get yourself some medicines when you're ill, or to have clothes to keep you safe from the elements. It is for much more than that. And what's more than that? All of these things. You need that paycheck because it is what gives you an opportunity to live in this paradise. Because you told me that this paradise is expensive. Am I not just as alive as you are? Or are you somehow a little bit more alive than me? What do you think? Am I not just as alive as you are? But I don't want to watch TV. If you switch on a TV, I can sit down and watch it. But I don't watch it looking for entertainment. Meaning, I don't see paradise in the TV. In my paradise, there are no TVs. I have nothing against one. Bring me a TV and get me to sit down and watch it. I can watch whatever you want me to watch. But I don't look for paradise in a TV. Because if I did, life would be very expensive. And then I would not be able to be in a row. I'd have to go back to my lay life. I'd have to go back to work. And I'd have to go back after that paycheck. Because here's the funny thing. You know, nature, vipaka, God, whatever form you want to address it, provides you what you need, full stop. Would you like me to repeat that? Nature, vipaka, God, in whichever form you want to address it, gives you what you need. He provides. Whatever you need, nature provides. Whatever you want, you have to work for. Why do you work so hard? Why do you have to work so hard? Let's be honest. In comparison to maybe some of the people who live in the local village at the monastery, I know this for a fact. Well, I say for a fact, I think I'm mostly right than wrong, that in this one room, we have a gathering of, let's say, 200 people who really work their socks off. In fact, if you all gave up your day jobs, then we'd probably have to call a week off as public holiday or something, because the country would have to cease if all of you gave up your day jobs just like that. Let's include the people who listen to these sermons online as well. Right? If all of them decided, let's all stop working for a day, for a week, let's say, right? For 2 weeks, we'd have to call it a national holiday because the country would cease to function. Meaning, but that would not be the case for people who live around the local village where we have the monastery. If they all decided to stop working, maybe, they wouldn't probably, maybe the fields wouldn't be watered and we'll have to get rice from somewhere else or something like that. But it wouldn't be something cataclysmic. Nothing chaotic. So I know that all of you work your socks off. You work terribly hard. Night and day means no difference to you. I know you love your children. I know you do. I know you love your families. I know you love to be at home. That's why you built a lovely home. But how much time do you actually spend there? If you're still on this side of retirement age, honestly, how much time do you actually spend at home? That beautiful house that you built so that you and your family could live happily. How much of your time do you actually spend at home? How much time do you actually spend with your beloved wife, I ask you? Was she not supposed to be your life partner? Is he not supposed to be your life partner? But how much of your time do you actually spend with your life partner? You spend more with your business partner, don't you? You spend more of your life with your business partner than you spend with your life partner. So why did you call her your life partner? You might as well call your business partner your life partner. Are you sure you're doing what you really want to do? Is this the plan that you so meticulously put for yourselves? Are you sure you're living the life that you want to live? Or is this a life that someone else has written for you? Whose script are you playing out? Yours or someone else's? Perhaps through work you have to keep flying abroad. Every once in a while, maybe once a year or once a month, once a week you have to fly. I used to do that when I used to work at the bank. Every week I had to fly up to Scotland. And then I used to leave my beloved wife at home, and I had to travel and come back again and keep going. I thought to myself, this has to stop. I was more married to my work than I was married to my wife. Are you still the same? What price are you paying for it? Is it worth it? Or do you actually get to spend quality time with your children? I ask you. I know you dote on your children, you love your children. You love them from head to toe, but do you actually get to spend time with your children? Why not? Because you're busy. Why busy? Because you have to work. Why? Because it's expensive. What? Living on this side of paradise. Because they don't come cheap. You have to pay a monthly installment. There's a loan that you took out and you have to keep paying it. It was not enough. If you need a house, you get a house, God provides you. Actually, let me put it this way. If you need a home, God provides you. If you want a house, you have to build one. Where is home? Where your heart is. God provides that. When He gave you heart, He gave you home. But now you want a house. When you want a house, you can't be content with home. Then you have to work. I know none of this is going to... I'm not really asking you to stop doing everything you're doing. And people might actually question, Swaminathan, is what you're saying actually practical? Are you suggesting that we all stop working? Is that actually practical? Who's going to run the country? Who's going to treat the patients? Who's going to drive the ambulances? Who's going to teach at the schools? Who's going to pave the roads? Who's going to pluck the coconuts? The world has to go on, Swaminathan. So how do you expect us all to do this? I agree. But you're just one small fish in the big ocean. In the vast ocean, you're just one small fish. And, believe you me, one day, whether out of your own choice or not, you're going to have to stop. And then, they will answer that question for you. Today you have a question to me, don't you? So if I stop what I'm doing, how is the world going to turn around its axis? How's the country going to function? Isn't the economy going to collapse? These are questions that you might ask. Isn't my company going to go bankrupt? This company that I built up over the last 25 years. How's my family going to survive? My extended family, they rely entirely upon me. How are they going to survive? Simple answer, die and see. Name one company that went bankrupt because the owner of the company died. Name one nation that stopped functioning because the president or the king or the emperor died. Name one. You know that car that you have, that you love so much, that you consider to be your car? The day that you get into it the last time and you get out of it, someone else will get into it the following day and they will switch it on and it'll turn on. Surprise, surprise. And then they will shift it into gear, and guess what? The moment they release the brake pedal, it will move. You didn't expect that, did you? That's magic for you. Wives become widows, widows become wives. No? How is that possible? I thought she was my wife. Do you still think this is paradise? Are you still convinced that this is paradise? You came into this world looking for paradise. God kicked you out of paradise, and forever since you have been looking for paradise. In that pursuit, you've been going after various things because that's what people told you where to find paradise. People said, the people who you came across, they told you, this is where you're going to find paradise. Your friends told you, do one of these things and you will find paradise. But you never stopped to ask them, well, having done them, have you? You never asked them that question. But here's the thing. People put pictures of them having a good time on Facebook. Hmm? They put pictures of their honeymoon on Instagram, but they don't post pictures of their divorce on Facebook, do they? Or just after a fight? Or during a fight? They don't do that. So on Facebook, what do you see? A utopian picture of the world, where everything is just tickety-boo. It looks like on Facebook, that's the home page of mum's the word. You tell me. So whenever you're scrolling on Facebook, just remind yourself, you're on the home page of www.foolsparadise.com. Because guess what? If they post a picture of someone being run over by a truck or something, they'll take it out. And they won't just take it out, they'll give you a warning. Those days we were very naive. Many years ago. Because we wanted to show people and remind people about reality, to get them to come down from these trees that they have climbed up, imagining that they're always going to be living in the lofty heights of pleasure and wonder. We used to make these little video clips of accidents that happen to people. People who get out dressed very smart, very professional, driving in grand luxury cars, and they get out and then there's a 10-ton truck drives into them. And before you know it, they're just paced on the road. And then to collect their remains, you have to bring shovels. You can't just pick them off the floor, off the ground. You have to bring shovels and shovel them into a bag. We used to put video clips of things like that, because there are websites on which they post these things, again for entertainment, apparently. But those websites get banned. Don't ask me what the website is. The authorities, they go looking for these websites, they scroll the internet, find these websites, and they ban them, because apparently it's too shocking. Living on this side of the fence is not shocking. That's fine. But the price you have to pay for living on this side of the fence, that's shocking. That's shocking. When people are angry and they get into brawls and they kick each other and stab each other and shoot and cut and hurt each other, images of things like that, they are too graphic. That's violent. And those things should not be on www.foolsparadise.com. So they take them out. And those days used to get warnings. They said, post another one of those and we'll take down the channel. So we stopped posting, because it was too shocking. But say there's a party, friends have gathered around, there are balloons and candles and music and dancing and all that, pictures and videos and all that on Facebook. Do you think anyone's going to ban it or report it? No. Because that is the lure into what? What paradise? Okay, that paradise. That's the lure. So tempting. So tempting. These are tricks of Mara. The reason it's so difficult to actually preach to people and convince them that this is not the answer is because this is so tempting. And when you do these things, any one of these things, temporarily you experience pleasure. That temporary pleasure is a curse. Because those fleeting moments of temporary pleasure make you feel in that moment that life is going to be like this. You know, when your loved one comes and gives you a bunch of flowers, right, for your anniversary, your birthday, whatever it is, at that moment, don't you feel that life is always going to be as good as it is at that time? Don't you feel that? Just imagine it's your anniversary. And your better half, your fiance, or maybe your girlfriend, your boyfriend, they come and give you a gift and they smile and they give you a card and they give you a nice hug and an embrace and they give you a kiss on the cheek. And at that point, don't you feel like life is always going to be that good? Let's be honest. Everyone feels that. You're no different from anyone else. Everyone feels that. And so what the mind does is it projects this current experience into the future. And they think that if it is like this now, it will always be like this. They forget entirely that all of these manifestations are manifestations due to causes. And that they're so fragile. That any effect is merely the manifestation of causes. Change one cause and the whole thing just topples. And the whole thing collapses. Have you not seen how young couples, they spend many years getting to know each other? Sometimes they even start living together. And then they move in or they get married, settle down, and then 2 weeks later, what happens? So why did that not happen before? For only one reason and one reason alone. Just that the causes didn't align for them to split up. There were causes that kept them together. If you see a fire burning today, how convinced are you that it will keep burning forever? If I were to light a fire here, just in front of you right now, are you such a fool to think that this fire will be forever lit? Are you? Is there any fire? Just look at the sun for a second. Don't we all know that that sun is going to burn out one day? Maybe in a billion years from today. I know scientists have done the maths by now and I can't remember. Perhaps there's someone in the audience who can call it out and say, in this many years' time, the sun will burn itself out and it'll become a dwarf, a red dwarf or whatever, and then that'll be the end of the solar system. So even if a fire that is as big as the sun is going to burn out one day, that candle is going to burn out one day, any fire is going to burn out, right? So then why, ladies and gentlemen, do you look at something that pleases you today and imagine to yourself that it's going to be there forever? Why, based on what you see today, you forecast the future? And not just that, you hang your whole life on it. Your entire sanity, you hang on that. People go crazy when things don't go to plan. You know, every year, just in Sri Lanka alone, more than 1,000 young people take their lives. I'm talking about just young people. And these are merely the reported facts. Not every suicide is reported. This is only in the little island that we call home. Across the world, you go, you do this, you work out. Just do a quick Google search. You'll find out. These were all people who came looking for paradise. And where did they go wrong? What happened? You tell me. You tell me, where did they go wrong? They walked into fool's paradise. They walked into fool's paradise because they loved the lure of it. People said all sorts of things about it. They went on Facebook and it seemed like it was the best thing. They looked on Instagram, it looked like, this is where we ought to be. Because they had a problem. They were lonely. They were scared. They had inferiority complexes about them. You know how many young people take their lives because of inferiority complexities? Because they just can't bear to be themselves. Sometimes because of their looks. Because they think they don't look themselves enough. Either they're not big enough, or they're not small enough, they're not tall enough, they're not short enough, they're not fair enough, they're not dark enough. Is this the first time you're hearing these stories? No, right? Because they're looking for happiness in fool's paradise. Because here, one of the things is looks or recognition, appreciation, fame, friends. It's a big deal these days for young children how many friends they have on Facebook. It's what gives them credibility among their friends, among their peers. It's a question apparently that gets asked now. Those days when we used to introduce each other, we used to ask, where are you from? What's your name? Today they ask, where you're from? How many friends do you have on Facebook? That's how you build up your street cred. Popularity has become a contest. Your innocent children are paying the price for it. Because all of these things are on fool's paradise. All of those things are on fool's paradise. All of these parameters are on fool's paradise, ladies and gentlemen. That's why the only answer for someone who seeks paradise is on the other side of it. On the other side, here's what you have. When you feel like you want happiness, you know what it is on this side. When you feel like you want happiness, you go after happiness. Yes? And these are some of the things that you go after. On the other side, when you feel like you want happiness, you go back and find out why it is you want happiness. You look at the causes that light the fire of desire within yourself. Wanting is like an itch. It's a rash. No amount of scratching it is going to fix it. But that's what people do. They keep on scratching themselves. They don't treat it. On the other side of this fence, the Buddha gives us the answers. What is Buddha, if you ask me? It is to extinguish wanting. That is what Buddha is. You may understand Buddha to be an individual. That's okay. But try and understand it, Buddha in these terms as well. Buddha is where you can get rid of this. A state of mind where there is no wanting. Because when you have a wanting, you can't stop yourself from going this way and walking down one of these avenues, and you just keep on jumping between these things. That's what you do. Life is this, isn't it? You're all over the place. In the course of a day, is it just one of these things you do? Think about it for a second. In the course of a day, is it just one of these things you do? If any of these things are able to give you fulfillment, why do you have to do another thing? The following day, okay, but the same day. Why do you have to watch TV and eat chocolate? What does that tell you about both of those things? If you have to eat chocolate and watch TV, what does that tell you about eating chocolate? If you're eating chocolate for satisfaction, fulfillment, for happiness, for entertainment, and then you have to sit in front of your TV and watch it while you eat it, what does that tell you about chocolate? When you serve yourself some ice cream, typically what do? You take it with you, walk into the living room, put your feet up on the table, switch on the TV and watch it while you eat it. What does that tell you about both of those activities? That neither fulfills, doesn't it? Neither quenches your thirst, neither sates your hunger, but you can't stop yourself from doing it either, because there's a wanting here. That's the rash. Is this paradise? Where you spend your precious life that was earned after having toiled and labored and earned lots and lots and lots of merit. Where you spend your life to get yourself a paycheck at the end of the month, you call that paradise? Look at what this paradise has done to you. It has reduced the value of your life to a paycheck. I hate that. I hate what you have done to yourselves. Because I love you, I hate what you have done to yourselves. You have reduced your life to a mere paycheck, because your paycheck has to keep on coming, so you can keep adding fuel to this fire. If you think I'm mistaken, correct me, and I'll return your money. If you think I've got this wrong, correct me and I'll return your money. Whatever you paid to get here, I'll return that. I mean, you just keep on scratching your rash. When is it going to heal? That is my question to you. You know, these are like the fingers of your hands. Right? With this finger, you scratch it once, see if that works. No. Then you try the next finger, see if that works. No. Try the next finger, see if that works. No. How many fingers do you have by now? All of these fingers scratching, just keeping on scratching. Can't you see your hand? See? This is the arm, and this is the wrist, and this is the hand. These are the fingers through which you just keep on scratching. Here's the rash. Isn't there a rash staring at you right now? You call that paradise? Ladies and gentlemen, please open your eyes, wake up to the truth. Once again, I love you, therefore I hate what you're doing to yourselves. Do you understand that? Why have you reduced the value of your life to a paycheck? Why have you reduced the value of your life to a house? When God's happy to provide for you, whatever you need, why go want? And then you're punished for it. Why do you blindly walk into that trap? I mean, like I said, you might ask the question, so I'm an answer, but if you ask, if what you're suggesting is, should we all stop doing what we're doing and just, I don't know, what do you suggest we do? Become hermits? My answer is again, die and see what's going to happen to the rest of the world? Your grandfather died, what happened? Did they declare the day a national holiday? Your grandmother died, so what happened? Did you not eat that day? Or for the whole week? No, maybe 1 meal or 2 meals you might have skipped. After that, you're hungry. Then what do? You eat. But you feel though, don't you, like if I die, my whole family is going to mourn, and they're all going to be they're going to be shattered, right? They're going to be in tears all day because they love me so much. I know they do. How are they going to survive without me? Die and see. Fathers in the house, perhaps you consider yourselves to be the breadwinners of the family. Yeah, okay, right? So you think if you are gone one day, then the whole family is going to just starve to death. Die and see. That won't happen for one reason. Because in each mind that you leave behind, there's a wanting. There's a wanting to survive. There's a desire to exist. And for as long as human beings have this desire to exist, by hook or by crook, they will find a way to exist. The hardest species to make extinct on this planet is going to be human beings. Because they don't just have the desire to exist, but they also have the intelligence. Animals, they also have a desire to exist, but what they don't have is intelligence. So they don't know what to do when there's a food scarcity. They don't know. There's a bit of instinct that they have, but that's it. That's as far as it can go. But if on this earth we run out of food, people will go to moon and they'll bring food. They'll go to Mars and they'll bring food here. Because that is what we are coupled with. The desire to exist and the intellectual capacity to learn to survive. And you think that's a blessing. I don't mean to offend your intellectual capacity. That is what is one day is going to take you to your own salvation. But this desire to exist, for as long as you love to live, ladies and gentlemen, you can't live to love. You must understand that. Anyone who loves to live does not live to love. Because they love to live. How can they live to love? This is why the Buddha gives us answers. He says, at this junction, don't walk past this. Because the moment you've gone past this junction, now you're in fool's paradise. And then here's what's going to happen. You're going to find temporary relief from all of your vexations. And each one of them is going to be a vicious cycle. This is like a whirlwind. The moment you fall into it, you're trapped in it. And it's very difficult to come out of it, particularly without someone pointing out to you that you have already fallen into a trap. I give you the analogy of someone who's born in a prison. Just imagine that. Say 2 prison inmates. They have a child, a man and a woman. They have a child. Those inmates were incarcerated at some point, so they knew when they were taken into prison. But think about the child that's born in the prison. Does he know that he's in a prison? Unless someone tells him. So someone who's born in fool's paradise, what can you tell me about them? Will they ever even consider walking out of here into paradise? No. Once every many yawns, an individual is born, a very unique individual. They begin to feel something uncomfortable. They think to themselves, this can't be all, there has to be something more than this. Doesn't happen very often. Happens, in fact, very rarely. Very rarely. In fact, nothing could be rarer than that. And then they, on their own account, on their own accord, through their own sheer willpower and the merits that they have acquired throughout samsara, guess what they do? They walk out of this into paradise. What do you call them? A Buddha. He walks by himself. Once he's walked onto the other side, then he realizes this is the paradise that they should all experience. So then, whatever life he has left in him, he commits itself and dedicates it to helping other people by talking to them, by showing them the path, showing them the problem that they're in, the predicament of the situation that they find themselves in. This trap, opening their eyes to the fact that this is merely pleasure and not actual happiness, by convincing them argument after argument that this is not real paradise, this is actually just fool's paradise. They invite you to walk out. But they don't just ask you to simply walk out, because they know this. Just walking back is not going to be the answer, because if you still have this wanting, you'll come back again. So here's what they teach you. They teach you, just as much as everything else in this world is an effect of causes, such is this wanting itself. You know, ladies and gentlemen, if you forget everything I've ever taught you, remember this for now and forever. There will be times in your life, as there have always been, where you will feel that you are not in control of your thoughts. There will be times in your life where you know that you're experiencing desire. You want something, but you hate yourself for wanting it. And when you really can't control yourself, that's when you go on to do things that you later on regret. I think we've all lived long enough to tell this tale. Remember this, and remember this forever. We have a solution to that problem. We have a solution to that precise problem. If ever you find yourself in that situation, please don't despair. Don't hate yourself. Don't go jump off a bridge. Don't jump into a moving train. Don't jump under a train. Don't drink poison out of a bottle. Don't go hang yourself. Come to paradise, because we have the answer. This is not about learning to be patient, because patience is for patients. This is not about learning to be patient. There will be many books, many scriptures all over the world. They'll talk about how patience is a virtue and you should practice being patient. But for how long can you do that? Haven't you all tried patience as an answer to a problem? Did it work 100% every single time? Hardly, right? Because there's only so far you can go with patience. How many times can you walk in front of that fridge? Once, twice, 3 times before you happen to open the door. How many times can you keep ignoring that website that you're not supposed to go to? Because when you're curious, disaster is just waiting to happen. How many times can you keep a straight face when people keep insulting you? How many times can you be okay with the fact that people tell you that you don't look good enough? How many times? How long can you be patient with that? When people keep pointing at various bits of you and say that's not big enough, that's not small enough, that's not large enough, that's not this enough, that enough, the other enough. Sometimes they'll say it to your face. Other times they'll show you pictures of what perfection looks like. And then they'll tell you, none of you is good enough. Look at this. Today I know that this is what has happened to our society, to our youth. There are boys, and it's not that they are bad or evil or vile, because no one's bad really. Bad is just a way of thinking. No one is bad. There's no one who's bad. It's just a bad way of thinking. That's all. It's a bad thought. There are girls who get into relationships, and soon after those relationships start to become serious, there are boys who bring out their smartphones, who bring out their pictures, this and that, say, one day I want you to look like this. By that point, it's gone too far. Now they've given up their entire lives to them. They've revealed all their secrets. Sometimes there's no turning back. They've given themselves up in every possible way. I don't need to spell it out for you anymore, do I? And then there's no turning back. So what they do is they wait for that moment. They wait while the iron is hot. And then they strike. Because they have learned that is the art of exploiting a girl's vulnerability. Where did they learn that from? Their friends. On the forums. On foolsparadise.com. As I speak to you, your daughter is speaking to a boy who's convincing her right now that she's not good enough. Tomorrow your girl will come home and ask you, Mama, where can I buy that makeup kit, please? Mom, can I buy that dress, please? Apparently the ones I have are too long and I look very godet in them. Apparently this is not attractive, Mama. My friends mock me. We have saved many anagarikas like that. I'm proud to say. I'm so proud to say. Many of our anagarika mahatmyas we have saved. Your daughters, your sisters. When they were on the verge of doing something that they could not go back from, when they were on the verge of point of no return, just one step forward and they would have done something that they couldn't have changed. We save lives, ladies and gentlemen. We save lives. We're not just preaching the Dhamma. We save lives. That's why I invite you to always be part of that mission. Be a lifesaver. So this is now rampant. It's just going all over the place, even in a school, schools, workplace, wherever. Just speak to your daughter, ask her. When you get back home, just have a heart-to-heart. Ask her this question, Puta. Be frank with me, you tell her. Just be frank with me. Have you ever felt that you don't look good enough? Has anyone ever made you feel that way? Ever? Either directly or indirectly. You know, it doesn't have to be directly. Even if someone comes up to them and says, you know, there's this lovely dress, there's this nice makeup. If you do that, you can look really fair, or you can look really beautiful, and it's very glowing, and so this, that, and the other. The moment you said that, what that implies is they're not good enough now. Otherwise, why say that? I mean, that's enough. Mothers, don't you agree? I mean, do you need any more ignition to start that machine off? That's enough. I mean, why would you bring a solution if there's no problem? The very fact that they're bringing something forward means you're not good enough. Try this. Innocent minds, born with a sense of inferiority complex. And now they have to look the part. So for that they have to do the part. Sometimes they have to cut the part. Those days, if you needed cosmetic surgery, you had to go to other countries, you had to travel far and spend a lot of money. But soon enough, it'll be mainstream, even in Sri Lanka. If it's not already, because I don't keep abreast with everything that's going on, but you probably know this better than I do. Very soon, it'll not be in the dark alleyways. They'll probably start dropping handbills through your door. Why? Of course, if you're a fool, then they'll promise you paradise. You can't fault them for it. I can't change the world for you, ladies and gentlemen. I can't make this world a better place for you and for me and for anybody else. I can't make this world a better place. I can make you a better person. I can help you become a better person. But I can't change the world for you. I can't go around changing the laws or enforcing the laws and making it illegal to talk to young children in that manner. It's not just the girls, by the way. You know, these days, even young men, they spend a lot on trying to look themselves, like do themselves up, because they feel inadequate. You know, looks play a big part now in people's identities. Their sense of self-esteem, how they look. Who they are matters not anymore. See what's happened? But what did the Buddha say? Najacha vasalo hoti, najacha hoti brahmano, kammana vasalo hoti, kammana hoti brahmano. Who you are, your intentions, what you do, this is what makes you either a vasala or a brahmin. Who you are is what you do. What you do is who you are, but that no longer matters anymore. It's how you look that is far more important. Fool's paradise. There's so much competition going on now among the youth. So much. It's just rife. You can almost taste it in the air. Bring a bunch of youths together. You can taste it. It's just palpable. It's almost palpable. So much competition going on. Because they're not content. Because if there's a competition, there's a race. Meaning they haven't won. They haven't won. Meaning they have lost. What have we done to our nation, ladies and gentlemen? What have we done to our nation? Once again, I'm not talking to you so that we can now go and change the whole country, change the nation, change society, change the laws, change the whole system. No, 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 and no again. That is not my job, because that is impossible. I'm here to help you change yourselves if you'd like to do that. That's why not everybody comes. Not everybody wants to hear this. And what's even worse, not everybody wants you to hear this either. That's why not everyone's going to be impressed if they found out that you come here. By here, I mean into the sasana, listen to the dhamma, start to turn around 180 degrees and start looking at actual paradise. Because here's what's going to happen. If you one day realize that wanting is the culprit, that is where everything went wrong, you know what they'd have to do with the cosmetic shops? You know what they're going to have to do with the beauty parlors? You know what they're going to have to do with the restaurants? You know what they're going to have to do with the showrooms? Where they sell their 65 inches, the 85 inches, and the 105 inches. You know what they're going to have to do? They're going to have to start packing up. So you see, your wanting is being exploited. People live trying to be vigilant about where their next enemy is going to come from. People live in fear and therefore vigilant as to where their enemy is going to come from, which country is going to attack us. Is it Pakistan? Is it India? Are the Tamil tigers going to come back and strike us again? The war is at home. And when you don't have that to worry about, so you have this sense of assurance now that no, the war is now settled, now all these problems are gone. What they do is they show you teledramas. See how nicely they have planned your life for you because you don't have a plan. That's the truth, right? When you don't have a plan, you fall into someone else's plan. Look at how nicely, how smartly, how eloquently they have planned it out for you. You wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning? Then you go to work. On the way to work, there are dramas to listen to. There's the news going on one side, there's music, there's current affairs. There's biz talk and that talk and celebrity talk and this, that and the other. They make you forget that you are alive. And the dangers and the perils of being alive are constantly surrounding you. You forget for a moment that the demons of survival are always around you. You forget that because it's all there around you. And then you walk down, you see the billboards, very flashy, very nice, very, very, very attractive. Just today I was thinking to myself, as we were being driven down to Colombo, at one point there's this board. They advertise, I think, tires. They advertise tires, but there's a woman who sat on one of those tires and she has long legs. No offense to anyone, to either, I don't know, maybe that's your company. right? But all I could think to myself was, whoever designed that and put it up there, don't you feel they've insulted you? What are they insinuating? Just think about that for a second. What are they implying? I mean, if it's tires, it should be tires. Yes? What's a woman there doing there? Sat on a tire with her long legs extended out. What does that mean? Here's what it means, I think. The tires won't get your attention. ... Don't you realize they're mocking you? Don't you realize you're being mocked? Is that okay? I don't know. I mean, if it's okay, it's okay, but I'm just asking you the question. Is that okay? Is that okay? That, I mean, you need tires for your car, I get that. So, advertise the tire? I mean, advertise the tire? What, you get the tire, you buy the tire, you get the woman free, or what? Once again, I mean no offense to anyone. If anything, I'm mocking your ignorance. They're exploiting this. They're exploiting your ignorance. Your desire to seek pleasure in fool's paradise. That's what they're mocking. That's an insult. It's an insult to injury. Here's your injury. Here's your injury. They're just adding insult to injury. Don't you get that? Say today on your way back home, look at those billboards around you and ask yourself the question, to design such an advertisement like that, what must they be thinking about me? Ask yourself that question and then either give yourselves a pat on the back or give yourselves a kick up the backside. See how they exploit you? I mean, you're a father. You're a loyal husband. Isn't that how they should imagine you are? If anything. I mean, if you are neither a father nor a husband, aren't you a son to a mother? Aren't you a brother to a sister? So if that's how they should imagine you, should they be putting up pictures like that? I don't know. I'm just asking questions because I don't want to hurt or offend anyone. I'm asking the question. No comments. Should they be putting up pictures like that if they look at you and they think about you simply as sons to a mother or a brother to a sister? Or a loyal husband to a wife? Or a father to a daughter? That's not how they see you, is it? So how do they see you? A man with a voracious appetite for sensuality. So you want to give yourselves that pat on the back? It's not their fault. You will never find me accusing anyone outside, because that is not my way, it is not my philosophy. This finger will always only point inwards. Because if the fire was lit here, it's going to be lit out here. It's going to be put out here. If the fire of desire was ignited here, the fire of desire is going to be extinguished here. No one else is responsible for that. No one is responsible for that. I want you to take ownership of that. Become responsible and take ownership for your own salvation, ladies and gentlemen. It is not like us to point our fingers outwards and tell the whole world to change. Be nice, be kind to me, be gentle with me because I am so fragile. I'm so weak. I'm so frail. Don't show me those things because I might be tempted. Don't show me those things because I might feel like I have to stray. We don't need to be like that. In the sasana, we don't need beggars, borrowers, or stealers. The Dhamma empowers. I mean, that's what I want for all of you. Because you don't need to look for answers here because we have been presented with the answer. The Buddha gave us the answer. He said, don't be despair. There is a solution. Etang santang etam panitang yadidang sabba sankhara samato. Sabbupatipati nissaggo tanhakkayo. Uproot attachment. Virago. And then you will be able to free yourselves from mentally roaming into fool's paradise. Nirodho. Once the fire of desire has been extinguished. Nibbānanti. That is Nibbāna. So what is Nibbāna? Paradise. So I ask you the question, when are you going to make that decision to wake up, open your eyes, and realize that you are in fool's paradise? And then make a firm resolve to yourselves, I will henceforth work and work and work till I get back to where I belong, where I'm supposed to be, where I started, back to paradise. You still all have the gift of life with you, ladies and gentlemen. You have vitality, you have energy. Even the oldest individual in this room, whoever that person might be, man or woman, still comes in the morning, stays awake, stays alert, and listens to the sermon. How meritorious do you think they must be? Whether they're 65, 75, or 85. How meritorious do you think they must be? They must be. Because one sermon is all you need if you understood it. One sermon is all you need. If you have your merits with you, if you are alert, if you listen attentively, one sermon is all you need to realize, I'm in the wrong place. This is a house. This is home. Where do you want to be? You decide. I'm home. So I know the way back home. My teachers taught me, and they taught me well. My brothers and sisters, they guided me, and they have guided me well. I was lost in this wilderness. Didn't know where to go. I was running around like a headless chicken. in despair. And then I came across the Mahasangha. I came across Noble Association. The Sangha showed me the Dhamma that was taught by the Buddha. I took their advice and I followed in their footsteps, in lockstep, step by step. Today I'm home. So if I can do it, why can't you? Think. Think, and then think more. Think some more. But don't keep on just thinking, because it's not just thinking that's going to do anything. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge put into action is power. I don't know the extent of what you can and cannot do. That is down to you to decide. Each one for themselves. But this is the truth. Do you forever want to live in fool's paradise? Or while the opportunity still avails, would you like to open through this door that is open now? It'll close one day, and then you'll have to wait again until someone comes and opens the door again. When that might be, who knows? No one has the answer. And there's no one to ask. So while the door is open, walk out. Walk back home. Right, let's call it a day then. Next week is going to be the first Sunday of the month. So, what do we do on the first Sunday of every month? No, it's not no Pindapata. There is Pindapata. What do we do? What do we all do on the first Sunday of every month? We give the gift of giving. That's what we do. We give those who are less fortunate the gift of giving. Okay? So, next Sunday, you need not bring anything for alms. Just bring yourselves and rejoice wholeheartedly, knowing that the Swami Nuhanses will be going on alms to give many others an opportunity to maybe do their first offering ever, so that one day their path shall pave, so that they can start walking back from fool's paradise to paradise. You've already started that journey. So beckon others to come. All right, let's do the merit transfer and bring the sermon to a close. Okay, so first and foremost, let us all take a moment to transfer all the merits that we have acquired by listening to the Dhamma, preaching the sermon, inviting the Swami Nuhanse to deliver the sermon, as well as making offerings to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha, observing the precepts and creating a conducive environment for all to come along and practice the path, offering refreshments and so on. First and foremost, let us take a moment to transfer these merits to the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, upasikas and upasikas who have since time immemorial protected and preserved the sublime teachings of the Buddha and passed it down through the generations of the noble lineage in the form of the Tripitaka, which is thankfully available to us today to study, understand and comprehend the Dhamma. Let us take a moment to transfer these merits to the monks and nuns resident in your local temples and nunneries, as well as the Mahanayakas, the Anunayaka Theras of all of the chapters throughout the world, as well as every monk and nun and so on who practice the path throughout the world. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to my teacher Guru Swami Nuhanse, as well as all the monks resident at the monastery and the Anagarikas and Anagarikas attached to the monastery. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to those who make great efforts to disseminate the teachings of the Buddha, be that by transliterating these talks, sharing them out with others, or inviting others to join them. May they all rejoice in these merits. Let us also transfer these merits to the friends of the monastery, our devotees, who for the sake of merits to help them attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana, continue to sustain the Mahasangha. This includes everyone from those of you who provide the Mahasangha with shelter, alms, robes, and medicines, as well as pass on their know-how and continue to extend their well-wishes. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, may they be healed of any physical and mental ailments and overcome any obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews and nieces, our friends, our acquaintances, our employers and our employees, as well as anyone and everyone who've gone the extra mile on our behalf, who've left no stone unturned to make our lives as comfortable as could be, who've helped us, supported us, and assisted us in any way, shape, or form. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, may they also be freed of any physical and mental ailments and overcoming obstacles to their spiritual progress. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to the Devas and Brahmas, spirits and demons, primarily the Sakadeva, as well as all the numerous gods and deities who have committed themselves to protect and preserve the Sambuddha Sasana. Let us transfer these merits to our guardian deities who keep a watchful eye over us and keep us out of harm's way. May they prosper in divine power and wisdom. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us also take a moment to transfer these merits to those who passed away in our names, our forefathers, our ancestors, our loved ones, reminding ourselves that it is in their blood, sweat, and tears today we are able to enjoy the comforts of life and practice the path in peace and harmony. Let us also transfer these merits to those who make great sacrifices to protect our nation, members of the armed forces as well as the police force. Let us also transfer these merits to those who lost their lives in the wars, be they friend or foe, as well as those who lost their lives in natural disasters and such as tsunamis and earthquakes, landslides, fires, floods, pandemics, and so on, reminding ourselves that in this infinitely long journey of samsara, they will all have been mothers and fathers to us, friends to us, supporters of us, with an abundance of loving kindness and compassion towards all of them. Let us transfer all of the merits that we have acquired to all of them. May they all rejoice in these merits, and by the power of these merits, if any of them have been born in the woeful planes, they redeem themselves and be born in the blissful plane. May they abstain from the unmeritorious deeds, fulfill the meritorious deeds, fulfill the noble eightfold path, and may they all attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And finally, may by the power and blessings of all the merits we have acquired throughout the day, we be able to witness the advent of many hundreds of thousands of Arahants on this blessed land, and may you and I, and everyone who's helped make this program a success, become a Rahatan Vahanse or an Arahat Theranin Vahanse in this very life itself and in the era of the Gautama Supreme Buddha itself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. The members of the Mahasangha will now transfer their blessings to you. Rajagiriya Nidatva Dveshagiriya Nidatva Mohagiriya Nidatva Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhita Taravetva Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhita Taravetva Mamada Siyalu Loka Siyalu Satvayo Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhita Taravetva Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhita Taravetva Nibbāna Parama Sukhayan Sukhita Taravetva Rajagiriya Niveva Dveshagiriya මෝහගිනි නිවේවා නිවන් සැප ලැබේවා නිවන් සැප ලැබේවා නිවන් සැප ලැබේවා. තුන්රුවන්ගේ සූවිසි අනන්ත මහා ගුණ බැලෙන් සියලු ලෝක සියලු සත්වයෝම නිබ්බාන පරම සුඛයෙන් සුගතිතර වෙත්වා. සාදු සාදු සාදු.